Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of How We Built This. This is episode 33. My name is Brandon, and for those of you that haven't joined us before, welcome. How We Built This is a workshop series, and we like to do three things here. We like to highlight clients that are using the platform in a unique way. We like to present new product updates and features, and we like to provide best practices and just general thought leadership. And for those of you returning, welcome back. You'll notice that we don't have Malachi with us today. He's usually our host, but today it's me hosting, and today we have joining us Alexis Cook. She is a product specialist here at Awardco, and she specializes in fraud prevention, and she's the perfect subject matter expert for us today for our topic, which is fortifying platform security. So we're going to go over our agenda, but first we want to really emphasize that Awardco is GDPR and SOC 2 compliant. In so many words, that just means we do our part in keeping data that you submit to Awardco secure and safe, and we really pride ourselves on the efforts we make there. And so this whole workshop is just to help you as an admin take measures to protect your users and data that you submit to the platform. So today in the workshop, we're going to go over some three main areas for where you can consider just added security measures. First, in our login methods, Alexis will go over that. I'll then review our new and updated password settings. Yeah. And then afterward, Alexis will go over considerations you can take regarding roles and permissions. We'll wrap it all up and then present a key takeaway slide and then take some questions. But while the workshop is going, we have a moderator here in the chat that will be answering questions. So feel free to really throw any questions you have in there, and we'll get to them throughout the workshop and then answer any unanswered questions at the end. We really want a workshop to be interactive, and we want you to jump in your platforms when the opportunity presents itself. So please follow along and also ask us any questions you have. So first off, we're going to hand it to Alexis. So Alexis, what are some security measures we can take with login methods?
Totally. So we have some really great security measures here at Awardco, and we try and keep it as user-friendly as possible. So I'd like to go over some of these. So the very first one that we'd like to call out is our single sign-on option here. So this is the most highly recommended sign-on preference within Awardco. Most of you that are on today have probably gone through implementation. Some of you might be in implementation currently, and single sign-on might sound familiar. So I highly encourage if maybe single sign-on wasn't an option while you're going through implementation, to send a quick Teams message or a Slack message to your IT lead or someone in IT to see if this is something that is now available to you. This is the most secure way to get into the platform. It has, just the highest reviews and best platform security. So, and this is always something that we can add after the fact as well. So if you're currently set up with username and password, and you would like to enable single sign-on, it's really straightforward. Please reach out to your CSM, and we'd love to get you more information on that. The next option that we have is sign in with login code. So we understand that some of these options aren't available for every company, and then demographics are different. So sign in with login code. This does require an email that is on file with Awardco. But what it does is once you log into the platform, it will send a code to your email address that will then be entered into Awardco. So this is a great way to kind of have a double security measure on that platform to make sure that the email is accessed appropriately, and now that they can get into Awardco safely. So this is a fairly new feature within the last several months. So it is possible that you don't know about it. Again, reach out to your CSM. This one is one of the easiest sign-ins to set up. There is quite literally a toggle, and we turn it on, and then it's ready to go. So a great simple way to enhance the security of your platform. We also have username and password. So again, we understand that demographics are different. Username and password is fairly common. And although it's not as safe as maybe single sign-on or sign-in with temporary code, we have a lot of great measures to make sure that is the safest way within our platform. So we have a couple of options that we can turn on and make it really easy for you. And I'll turn that over to Brandon.
Awesome. Yes, that leads us straight into our password settings. So password settings is a relatively new enhancement, and it just allows you in admin settings to go in on the back end and influence the experience users have in authenticating themselves on the AwardCo platform. So let's dive right into Alexis's computer. She has a test platform up. So we're going to navigate to the admin portal first.
Just like this.
And then click on the settings tab. And then scroll down, and on the left-hand side, you should see password. And so here we have our password settings. So I'm going to go over each of them. So we have this first toggled, and it's toggled on. And it's a way for you to allow your users to change their password upon first login. So this allows those who log in for the first time to change their password when they receive their onboarding email, or if there's a platform launch, when they first receive that launch email. So best to have that toggled on.
Definitely.
And then for the minimum length field, you can allow for a minimum length for passwords. So you can set that a minimum amount of characters a password can be. We recommend this be at least 10 characters in length. The length that just allows for bad actors to, it's harder for them to guess passwords. And so speaking of bad actors, sometimes there's bad actors that maybe want to access accounts that aren't theirs. And so we have a measure in place to allow for the account to lock after a certain amount of failed attempts to log into an account. And so we recommend this amount be 5 or less. So I have a 5 right there here. And then lastly, session timeout. So it's possible that a user logs in, but they're idle in their account. They forget that they logged in and they have it open on another tab. The session timeout field allows you to determine the time a user can remain idle before the session is terminated. Configuring this helps mitigate the risk of unauthorized access, and in case a user forgets to log out. So we recommend this be 60 minutes. So.
Yeah.
As you can see, this is just something you can go in and do today. It's very simple to go and access. So we encourage you to do so today after this workshop, or if
right now.
Right now, exactly. Yeah. So thank you so much. So for showing your screen, Alexis.
Of course.
So now we're going to go into roles and permission settings. What should we consider in that area?
Yeah. So. Really quickly, let me explain roles and permissions first if you don't know what this is. So we have a whole setting page to be able to configure specific settings for your users, for your employees, and for different admins within the platform. And you can really get very granular and customize this any way that you would like. So let's actually navigate there right now. And Brandon is going to share his screen.
So here we go.
Oh, sorry, I kind of put you on the spot there.
No, you're fine, totally.
Okay, so we are gonna go back into the admin settings one more time. And then, navigate to settings, and then let's scroll down, left-hand side.
Permissions.
There we go, yep. So just a couple of quick tips that we can make sure that our permissions is narrowed down as much as possible. So the very first thing that we would like to call out is going to be the data visibility section. So if Brandon can go in and just select a random role. Yep. Perfect. So as we can see, so this one is executive manager role, for example. Once we click into this setting, as you can see, the next slide is the data visibility. This role allows for all reports to have data visibility. We also have an option for direct reports. So what this means is rather than the entire downline of a manager, and seeing all of their reports information, we can limit that to the direct reports only. So again, Brandon was fantastic in saying, let's get on your platform right now. If everyone can, let's get on to your platform. Let's go through those roles and make sure that some of your managers or maybe your finance team doesn't have access to things that they don't need. So this is a great way. We also really recommend, yeah, you can close out if you'd like. We also really recommend limiting your super admin user, which you're probably familiar with that, to 2 or 3 at the max. We understand that this might fluctuate sometimes, or maybe you need to give access for a small amount of time. But auditing this regularly and making sure that the users who are going to be managing Awardco are the only people that have access to that specifically. Let's see what else. Yeah, super admin. We also recommend having some sort of a documentation of the roles so that if anything changes, you'll be able to know when and where and who has access to what. And I just think that that's a great tool there.
For sure. That's something that I think is great to evaluate on a routine basis, just so, because organizational structure changes and goals might change. So great thing to review from time to time.
And I think too, kind of going back to it is to even just look at the different settings that each role has. We have reports that could be available to anyone. And some of that has, specific user information or monetary values attached to it, and we just want to limit that down.
Sure. Yeah. I have here on my screen those permissions that you can select for each role.
Yeah.
You can select if roles have access to reports.
Exactly.
And even this admin settings toggle has a lot of weight to it, so make sure those are only limited to those who should have access to it. So.
And just to, I'm sure that this goes without saying, but if you sense anything that is potentially going wrong, or maybe even internally you have someone that's misusing the system, just reach out to us. We have a fantastic team that we can pull reports. We can, if needed, we can help secure your platform. And Brandon said this at the beginning, this isn't meant to scare you, because Awardco is very, very secure, but we want to make sure that your settings are up to code and standard and everything that we have.
For sure. Yeah, our aim is to prepare you, not to make you panic. So here we go. Yeah, we have all these great suggestions. Thank you so much for doing that.
Of course.
And we've covered a lot of ground today, and we want to just wrap it all up into a takeaway slide into these 3 bullet points. So Alexis went over login methods and the different ones we have available. Single sign-on is definitely the most secure, and perhaps you didn't have the resources to implement it at one time, but now you do. So maybe make a plan to have in place to have that be your login method for your users. Login with code is also a great option if email addresses are on file for your employees or users. So that's...
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, usually implementation goes by pretty quickly, and sometimes these login methods are kind of thrown on you as admins. So it might be really helpful to start now. If you don't collect email addresses, let's start now and set a goal by the end of the year to have login code enabled. So I just think that there are a lot of things that we can do to get to a point to be even more secure.
Sure. Yes, exactly. Yeah, make those preparations. And if SSO and login code isn't an option, obviously, yes, username and password will do. Just make sure you configure those password settings on the back end. There's just those 4 simple settings. Allow users to set their own password, lockout time, etc. So, and use those best practices. And then lastly, evaluate your roles and permissions from time to time, quarterly, any regular cadence, just so that you ensure data such as financial data with budgets, funding, or redemption account information, all that's secure. So we're going to send out all these resources relating to all these takeaways in a follow-up email right after this call. But we're going to go ahead and take some questions. We're going to review the chat right now and just see if there are any outstanding questions that we have.
Doesn't look like
it doesn't look like there are any questions, but What was that? Sorry.
Oh, Q&A. There we go.
Oh, there we go. This is a new setup. So Diana Awardco, she's
Oh,
actually an
yes.
Awardco employee. If we don't send company emails, but rather only personal emails, can the login code be used for either email or personal email? Yes. If you have a primary email and a secondary email on file, the user can actually go in when they request a code. They can have the code requested to be either of those emails on file.
Yeah. So, and we understand that a lot of companies maybe don't assign out company emails, but if you do collect personal emails, that's a great option to log in and to put that on your user report so that we can enable that login with code.
Great. Thanks for asking that,
Yeah,
Diane.
that's great.
That's a relatively new update, so
Yeah.
thanks for calling that out. Well, it looks like there are no more questions, but we'll stick around for a few moments. But we really appreciate your time in joining with us. Please consider these items we brought to you today. Thank you, Alexis, for joining us. It's been a pleasure.
We're very passionate about it.
Yes,
So.
definitely. You were the right person to ask. And thank you again, and we'll see you next time.